Hi, welcome back to the Mobile Learning Unit. This is the second video in our unit here on mobile devices and mobile technology. Let's continue our conversation about using mobile technology in the classroom and start with the question of what is a tech ecosystem. Now, a tech ecosystem, for example, would be like Apple. They're really strong on having their own ecosystem. They're pretty close. They don't want you even popping the back off their phone to reinsert a new battery. With the Apple system, you can have an iPhone or an iPad. You can have your desktop. You can have your Apple laptop and MacBook, and all of those things are integrated pretty well. You can use iTunes on any of those and access your iTunes account and be able to easily move back and forth between those devices, all on the Apple system. They're pretty seamless that way. Another system, for example, would be the Android system. If you buy apps on the Android market, they're only going to run on an Android phone or another Android device, such as a tablet. You can't run those apps over on an Apple system. You can only run apps that are from the Apple Store there. So each of those systems, there's a little crossover, but very little when it comes to actual mobile technology apps. If you buy it on one system, it can only be used on that system that you bought it on. You have to actually be very careful with your students that when you purchase, for example, if you have an iPad and you're using an app to manage your classroom, and your students are accessing that app or accessing that content from their phones, they may have Android phones, and you need to make sure that there's a way for them to access that content. You can't really require your students to all have the same brand of phone or running the same platform, so you have to watch out for that a little. The other one I have on there as a popular ecosystem is the Windows Microsoft ecosystem. It's interesting because Microsoft's a little behind the curve when it comes to mobile technology. They don't have a very big market share with their Windows phone, but now Windows 8 is coming out and they have a tablet for that. I have one of those Windows 8 tablets, and it's as powerful as my desktop computer. Runs all my programs, has my desktop just like that, and now that they're about to release that out of beta into the full market, I think that's going to be a powerful platform if people pick up on it and aren't already entrenched in the ecosystem that they chose earlier, such as Android or Apple. All right, let's look at where we can find educational apps. There's 3 different places generally that you can find apps. Each platform, for example, Apple and Google's Android system, Microsoft, they have their own stores with apps for their own platforms in those stores. So if you buy an iPhone and you buy an app for your iPhone from iTunes, if you lose your phone and need to buy another and you choose Android instead, you can't transfer that app over. You won't be able to access that app on an Android phone or go into iTunes and buy that app for your Android phone. So you need to watch out a little as far as investing in apps. You may want to be careful that you commit to one ecosystem that you're comfortable with and think will be there for a while if you're going to really invest your time and energy and maybe some money into those kinds of educational apps. All right, I've put the URLs for each of those app stores on this slide, www.google.com. If you go there and then go into their marketplace, it's usually under the other tab, you'll be able to find the Android app marketplace. The Apple store is just store.apple.com, and then Windows 8 is on the windows8apps.com. All 3 of those stores are accessible. Let's talk about, now that we've got you directed to where you can look for those apps, let's go over to how to search. So you get into one of those stores and you're looking for a program. Each of those stores has a sub area that is specifically for education. I think on Microsoft they want you to actually log in with what school you're from, and I've noticed that when I log in and say I'm from BYU, they tend to show me apps that are all college related. So be a little careful with that and know that once you put a school in, they're trying to filter apps to you that relate to what that school is rated as, whether it's secondary education or higher education. So just a little heads up there. But if you went into iTunes Store, there's an education area, and usually they will tell you and rate what apps are the highest rated. And so you can search by topic, but then once you get into that topic, you can look at what the top rated apps are, see how many teachers are using those, and see the comments on whether those are worth bothering with or not. You can also search topic related generally, just doing a general search on Google or Bing or another search engine to see what apps are being talked about. And that leads me to my third item, which is educational app review sites. There are plenty of blogs out there and different e-magazines online and education resources that will do reviews and do the testing and tell you which apps really are working the best in the classroom, which are the high rated, which don't cost much, which transfer to other platforms as far as students being able to access those and use those. So take advantage of those resources. As you move into the assignment page of this module, you'll see that you're about to spend 2 hours exploring mobile technology. We would like you to get on different phones and tablets. You can check those out from the computer lab and search for different apps and explore those to see what they might be able to do for you as an educator. But always keep in mind that when you are looking at these apps, make sure that they're efficient, they're saving you time, saving you energy, saving you effort, so that technology doesn't bog down your teaching, but instead enhances and lightens your load and makes learning easier and more accessible for your students. All right, finally, let's look at how to decide if an app is effective and what to look for. First, is it effective? Does it do what it needs to do? Is it efficient? Does it do what it needs to do and take less time than what you used to do the same thing, if that makes sense? You want to make sure that whatever technology you're integrating, you're not costing yourself more time, it's not taking you more effort. These things are to enhance our teaching, not detract from it or make it drudgery or make it harder. We want to make sure that it's engaging for our students, that they enjoy using it, that they find it beneficial, that it's not a hassle, especially when you're choosing some software, some app that you want to manage your classroom with, something they're going to engage with every day. You want it to be user-friendly. Finally, the learning curve. Make sure that the things you choose don't cost you such a learning curve that you're frustrated by it and that you're constantly taking piles of time just to learn the software. Usually there's a bit of transfer there. Once you've learned one app, usually you can go to another app and the same kind of things are happening, and it may have you click a button instead of drag and drop something, but that's okay. You can quickly adapt to that, and the more you play around with and experience these kind of apps, the easier you'll be able to transfer that understanding of mobile technology to the next device or the next app, the next platform. But also watch out for your students. You don't want to double their homework load by having them go learn an entirely new program or app just to learn something they could have just sat down and learned in half the time using traditional methods. So be a little careful on that, and your students will appreciate your consideration that way. Finally, let's look at our credits. I'm using good copyright, what's the word? It's just gone from my head. I'm attributing it correctly. There you go. And letting you know where I got my splash screen image and my slide image. And that's it. Enjoy exploring mobile technology, and we look forward to seeing everything that you are exploring and how you rate it and what you found that's beneficial to you.